Welcome back to Opening Bell. We get you ready for the trading day. Joining me right now, Ben Sturgill is with us, Chief Market Strategist at Smart Data Trading. And this morning, you've had David Solomon from Goldman Sachs, Ted Pick from Morgan Stanley. You've had, with a cautionary tone about pullbacks, and Palantir has been down. I mean, what do you make of this kind of day?
Well, I mean, you're going to have these ebbs and flows in the market, especially during a government shutdown like this, where there's not a lot of liquidity finding its way into the market with the lack of government spending. And so, I just expect more chop like this, going up, going down. I mean, yesterday was a nice up day with the news about Amazon, and then here we have a down day. And so, we experience these ups and downs in the market as we pretty much just go sideways.
What was interesting is I was saying that for all the dips we've had, people buy into them.
Well, that's it.
Are you a buy the dip kind of guy right now or no?
I'm a trend trading kind of guy, and so as the trend is up, any pullbacks to support, any pullbacks to the mean, as I call it, I think is a buy because it's rewarded us time and time again since April.
So in tech, for example, the question is about an AI bubble, and there was talk about people putting in put options to over $1 billion worth on NVIDIA and Palantir, and sort of playing the other side. Is that hedging, or is that a big bet that something big is happening?
I see it more as hedging. I mean, I think that, you get to extreme valuations because of excitement around a new technology. When we saw this back in '99, but the difference, I think, is that AI has real applications in the moment where, if you remember at '99, '98, we were sending emails and messages to our friends. Way different with agentic AI.
And so now at this point, how do you feel about the economy overall? I mean, there's a lot of talk about AI taking jobs and things like that. But there's also a lot of positive things. I mean, for example, I heard today that productivity has been moving higher, which sometimes leads more hiring. Right. If you see people really doing a lot or working more hours, it means they need more workers.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think that the economy is in a bad place, frankly. I think that, this market comes down to two things. It comes down to liquidity that can be injected, by government deficit, by the Fed, by commercial banking, and it's going to come down to financial conditions. And we've already seen Powell talk about how he's going to cut in this past one, likely going to cut again in December. And as the dollar stays weak and rates come down, then that's going to be great conditions for the business cycle, which is just starting.
You have some names to watch. Are these names that you like and you might want to buy into? Tell me about those.
100%. Yeah, I really like Tesla at this point. I know that it's made a nice run of late. We've been talking about it since August, but I mean, it's a business that's doing far more than electric cars. It's setting up the future for robo-taxis, for robots. It's got tremendous battery technology, and of course AI is making its way into that through the multiple companies that Elon is a part of, including X and Grok. I'm a big fan of Amazon here. I think that with AWS and just the fact that, we have this season coming up of Christmas, right? Everyone's buying their gifts from Amazon, and I think that's a big name to watch. I think 300 is in the cards ultimately for Amazon.
Wow.
And then ultimately, I do like QCOM. I think they've made announcements about AI compute and chips. I think they're going to be competitors for AMD
and it got
NVIDIA.
A nice pop on
really
that
did.
Too.
Yeah.
And the question is that a pop that holds? Is there more to come? Type of thing on Qualcomm.
Well, earnings is coming up here soon in the next couple of days, and so we're going to have to wait and see on that. But I do believe that it's a name that's going to hold around that support and going to continue to move with the entire sector itself.
And then CRWV is in there too, right?
CRWV is in there. It's not profitable yet, right? It doesn't have the type of numbers we want to see, but it is building its business, and it is certainly getting a lot of partnerships. So the concern is about the net income, but ultimately, when you build enough infrastructure like Amazon showed us, ultimately you can turn that into profitability.
We also think about, seasonality. November is a pretty good month. We're going into, the Christmas time, the Santa Claus rally. Do you see some of that happening?
I see that happening for Amazon. Yes, I see that happening for the market in general. I'd like to think that this government shutdown is going to end by mid-November. At least that's what a lot of the betting markets are saying. And so if that were to be the case, and we start to see that government funding start to come back into the markets, as you said, with the seasonality, with the Santa rally, and then more liquidity coming in, I see a push up.
You see more highs too then.
I do. I just think that a trend is a trend until it's not a trend anymore.
Right, understood. When you think about the action, are you going to be defensive or do some rotation? Is it going to be all tech? How are you going to do this?
Yeah, for me, it's data, right? This is what smart data trading is all about. It's watching the VIX, and as long as the VIX stays relatively low, then yeah, I'm going to be mostly long and mostly long tech until that sector rotates or changes. But until then, you have to play the trend until it ends.
And then, people are looking at everything from, simple moving averages to how many names are at highs, how many names are at lows, and how far apart those highs and lows are in percentage terms. People are starting to get worried by using some of those technical points. What do you like to watch? I'm
a big fan of the 21 EMA. That's not the simple moving average, that's the exponential moving average. It's weighted more recently than across the board. And that has generally been where price will come back to and find support and bounce from. I was just going over this last week where we've seen that support hold in the S&P 500 since those April lows once we got back in trend. So that's really the one I like to watch to just make sure the trend is intact. That's interesting.
I'm glad I asked that. And last but not least, we see Bitcoin pulling back. We see it at about 104,000 today. No risk on there. What do you make of something like Bitcoin? Does it make a comeback? Does it get to new highs at some point? And if so, when? What drives it?
Well, liquidity drives it. And I absolutely see it making a way back to new highs.
Oh, you do?
I do, 100%. I mean, we saw President Trump on 60 Minutes on Sunday talking about how crypto and Bitcoin is one of his major priorities. And so, if Trump says it, he's going to push it. And he has, and he does, and he will. And so, yeah, I see this thing going back to new highs with his stance on it and with liquidity coming back in the market once the government shutdown ends and once financial conditions continue to loosen because of Powell.
All right, and I know you said you like Tesla. They were talking about some of the China-made EV sales dropping nearly 10% year over year in October, but that's not why you like Tesla. You like Tesla as more than a car company, you said.
They have so many technologies coming out. I mean, they were the front runner in EV technology for cars. I think we're going to see them be the front runner in robotics as well.
Ben Sturgill, Smart Data Trading. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Really appreciate it.